Welcome to High Desert Human Design Catalyst. Today, we have the camera positioned a little differently so that you can hopefully feel like you're part of the conversation. Today, we're going to talk about the nodes in 3740. We're going to talk about what we've experienced around us, the changes that we are feeling and allowing in the way that we connect tribally and materially with each other and the world around us. We are going to talk about our experiences with these energies. Each of us here is experimenting with human design. And so a lot of us have something to share about our experiment and something to add to the collective knowledge of 3740. And so we welcome you here. I am going to have you on my computer over there. So I hope to be able to interact with you as you are interacting with us. Yeah, so let's do it. I'm going to hold the microphones this time and then just give them to you and have you give them back. This will enable our brains to remember to keep them here. Me included, right? Doing it again, get really excited and start talking and use my hands and stuff. And then the sound is like, it's a mess. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. And you guys can feel free to do that when I give it to you too. We are live right now. I'm going to give it to you when it's time, when you're ready to share something. And then you'll give it back to me.
I just have a question about confidentiality in a way, because even if you don't use the name, if someone recognizes you and you describe a circumstance, someone else can recognize who you would be speaking about, even though you're speaking about your experience with this.
That's right.
Person.
Great question. And perfect initiation, punching down the door of what happens when 3740 gets to feel and be their fullest expression without fake face because of manners. So, wonderful query. And so I say, let's answer it as a collective. My thought on that is, well, I'll say the way I move through the world, and maybe everybody else can too. The question was, oh, I've got two microphones. Yeah, sorry if that was crazy, guys. Is in college, in my psychology degree, I was taught beginning, middle, and end. You don't tell a story unless there's a beginning, middle, and end, because it's not good for the person you're sitting in front of that is holding you in some kind of regard to leave an open-ended story. Now, that's not here. We're not therapizing each other. We're not trying to feel better about something. We're not trying to make anybody else feel better. But I have used that as a beautiful rule of thumb for my own growth. Because unless I have a beginning, middle, and end, first, I decide what's the end. For me, the end is when I see what love sees. The end is when my heart opens back up. If my heart hasn't opened back up, the story hasn't finished for me. And for me, and I'm only sharing my own, and I'm a 6'2". I understand you're a 2'5". There's a lot more privacy in your realm than there is for me. So I'd love to hear what you think about this. But offering my perspective is that I won't share it with anyone. Because remember, me telling stories, what I believe is that when I tell a story, it sends out a field, an electromagnetic field, and it becomes a magnet for my experience. And so I process everything internally until I can see what love sees. And I would never go on live at YouTube discussing it. I would discuss it with you guys because you're close to my heart and I'm with you every Tuesday, and you can look at it from an objective perspective and offer me some different sites without telling me what to do or getting on the fuck it bus and saying that person's wrong, right? I can trust that equanimity from my beloveds here in this circle, but I can't trust that for everybody. So I wouldn't share my process until it was finished on YouTube. That's it. I wouldn't share my process till it was finished. And this beautiful, valuable gem that you as a 2-5 have, and that is being cultivated, It'll be a proper time when there's a beginning, middle, and end, when you can share with us what's going on from the place you want to share it from, right? The place you want the world to know. If I was writing the autobiography of you at the end of the story, that's what I would put on YouTube. Now, some people may say that's not authentic and that's not real. And here's, again, moving into 3740. We are right now being asked to find our tribes. And I know 1949 breaking down and us saying that tribal way is going away is very confusing when I say we are finding our tribes, but it's our fractals. It is the people that are here to serve us in certain ways and to be able to be discerning through the energy in your body. You cannot be in discernment of the energy of your body and who sees this here. So this gets beginning, middle, and end. It can get feeling for me, like I'll give you all my feeling. I'll cry, I'll be transparent in all of the wave of emotion. But I'm gonna wait until I have a beginning and a middle and an end. I wonder how you feel about that.
Well, for me, the 59, the gate of transparency, is my unconscious Pluto, and it's connected right to my throat. And so I can go to very much emotional depth.
Mm-hmm.
And you gave me the nickname of the emotional fire starter just last week.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been playing with that. And so for me, I feel that the guidance that I get is that for me to be vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
is the way that I can also, it's strength for me. And it's the way that I can transmute the field,
That's
even
right.
just by my aura. However, you can stir stuff up in an incoherent field, and as a 2-5, you'll get blamed.
You'll
And
get
I
blamed
will
whether
get
it's
blamed.
incoherent or coherent.
Exactly.
You will get blamed. So it's about building capacity to stand in your own through the blame. It's about you building capacity because it will always happen as a 2 and a 5. And you have every tool to stand in your own because you are a 2 and a 5.
All right, well, I am learning that,
Mhm.
and it means sometimes I have to get smeared with a lot of like, what isn't
Yeah.
mine,
You got to let people think what they're going to think about you, and you are never in control of that.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was really speaking to a little bit more was, for example, I know someone who shares a lot of stories about people and thinks that if the person isn't named, that it's all clean,
Mm.
and that therefore it's not gossip. It's storytelling. It's deep interest in what humans do, and there's a level on which I buy that. If I listen long enough, I can figure out who this person's talking about,
Right.
and it doesn't really feel
Good to
clean.
you. Yeah.
And so I could very innocently, in my own way, for example, share about the 40, and it involves another person. And if anybody in the world is out there and knows me,
They're going to take it personally.
well, they're also going to maybe know who I'm talking about, and this person may feel violated.
Mm-hmm.
You went on YouTube, you didn't know who was going to see it, and you said, "What about me?"
Mm-hmm.
My feeling is the 59
Mm-hmm.
is like, if it's true, what's the difference?
Well, interesting
And
heresy
soon
you've brought to the
we'll all
microphone.
know it. But if you want to stay hidden and in denial as a 2, I
Right.
get it.
Right.
But
And here you are sitting in a chair in which YouTube cannot see who it is that's talking, although you're on the microphone, there's been no name shared. So the person who feels pointed at is the person that's supposed to feel pointed at because no one knows who you are at this moment except for our group. And if you, so again, keeping for me, and you do, of course, what is right for you. And you have some integritous line that I'm hearing that shares that it feels icky to not to share something before the beginning, middle, and end with integrity and witnessing. That middle part, you could get to the depths of the highs and the low, but that middle part feels some kind of way to people you love, and you don't like it because you experienced it from the outside. So you just get to build the structure for yourself of what you are okay with sharing and not sharing. And can you share 40 from thy will? right? Can you see 40 from thy will? I use the gene keys in that way to challenge my own self. My story will be what divine will sees. And if I can't see it because I have some story about how they're bad, wrong, and shameful, I'll sit with that, right? I can feel that way. But until I see thy will in 40, right? That's my Saturn placement in line 2 in Virgo in the 3rd house. So it's quite a thing. He's quite staunch in the way that I practice communication in that placement. Point being, it sounds like you are erecting some structures that allow you to 59 without feeling caged and without feeling exposed. Does anybody else have anything to share about the way that they share the stories? You know, when we start to have this awareness that nobody's bad, wrong, and shameful, we start gaslighting ourselves sometimes out of our experience. And we don't need to do that. We don't need to say, just because I know better, just because I can see the higher view doesn't mean this doesn't hurt, or it doesn't mean I'm not human in the midst of this experience. Of course you are. And you're a fractal of people. You're people who you are living up to the projection of. That's who gets it. Trust is a pattern of predictable behavior. And the pattern of predictable behavior that we have all seen is that this is choreographed in your favor. So you just got to wait till you can see it. Oh, yeah.
I was just going to say, if this is along the same line, that one of the things I've been really looking at for the last couple of weeks is the whole tendency of the heretic to want to expose the illusion and point things out that seem obvious.
Right. Ray Charles saw that. Well,
Yeah.
no, he didn't. I know. Crass jokes. I think they're funny.
So I have been observing myself in that way, and I've had a couple of experiences, one in particular yesterday, where I was clear that I was sharing a perspective that is outside the box, and yet I feel very empowering. It's a very empowering perspective. A lot of that I said this evening as we sat around the table. And I could see that it was triggering somebody who was very attached to the drama and the negativity and the good and the bad and the victim and all of this. And I don't enjoy that. I don't enjoy triggering people, which is really hard, being a heretic and also being easily projected upon in terms of how other people decide to see me. So I had to sit with the feeling of, and and it wasn't a severe reaction, but it was a certain rejection feeling. And I just had to sit with that and go, can I be okay with that? Because it's not okay that I stifle things if it feels like it's being offered in love.
Right. There's line 4 you just talked about. Rejection is never rejection when it's done in love. It's alignment.
Yeah.
You know, the jungle did not reject the whale, right? It just cannot be in symbiotic
Right.
relationship with the whale.
And, as much as I would like this other person in this example to have been able to receive the loving vision and empowerment that I was offering, it's not my choice and my option. And yet it was okay. I felt right that I spoke it. And so I just am coming to a place where I feel as though there are going to be more of these circumstances where I have to just go ahead and say what I see in a space that may have non-agreement, without any kind of pushing, or because I don't know that there's non-agreement until I start speaking a lot of times anyway. It's just simply this feeling of I have no control over the outcome. I know what I'm offering, and it'll be received or it won't. And that's the best I know to do.
There's sovereignty.
Yeah.
And as a 51 in the 5th line, or 51 in the 6th line, and in the 4th line. So I can see from that position that you are teaching, right? As a 6th line, I'm just being that thing. I'm just like, all right, whatever, you're not in my fractal, you're not in my fractal. Separation is the word, right? You are teaching how to be your initiator self sovereignly in the field of the world, right? Your fifth line. So, something that I don't hear a lot in the world is fifth lines are about frequency. Fifth lines are about changing the energy of the vibration of the water in the cells of the bodies around you. It's not for everybody, number one. Number two, not everybody has the tools to deal with that when that happens. Number three, if they did have the tools, sometimes you, as a 51, should find the thing that they don't have tools for and bring it to the fore. So it's about their journey after that. And so whether or not, they will never see you. They will only see the projections that you live up to or don't. And that is the way that you have relationship with people.
It's very awkward sometimes, but yeah.
And I'll bet if you're honest, that's the way you want to have relationships with people. You want to be outside the village. You kind of don't want to be that close.
No, that's very true. That's very true. But
Yeah.
I've had a very strong desire to actually be seen and a very strong attempt at being transparent.
Yeah.
And yet it's just not really possible.
It is possible because transparency doesn't need anyone else's validation.
Yes, and so when I'm using the word transparent, it's like that is coming in my words with a desire to actually be seen by another in relationship, because that creates a more authentic relationship, seemingly, rather than them having a relationship with a projection that they've put out there, which is a little different to be part of.
It's a lot different.
Yeah. So in any event, those are all, parts of a story of a journey of a certain type of wound even.
That's right.
And at the same time, I've gotten to not take it personally any longer.
Right.
And I don't make a huge effort to try to convince somebody that they maybe need to change their opinion of me. It's like, it's okay.
High five.
It's just that it's like I'm having to observe myself and just go, this is a really interesting role at this time to give myself permission to authentically be. And it's, it's as we speak in any of these kinds of circumstances, I don't have any control over what somebody else decides I just said or how they feel about it. It's just, I just have to be able to speak. And so I'm beginning to give myself more permission for that.
Yay.
And that was what that was all about.
Thank you for leading the way. That is, so the leader, right? The one who is teaching us how to do it. I'm the role model, the one who's just doing it. You have a much bigger job, right? Just doing it, right? We both have big jobs. I'm trying to integrate it, and you are trying to teach the world through your being. So it's thank you for letting us see you.
Well, thank you for
and letting us be impacted by you,
Yeah.
even though it doesn't feel good all the time. You are teaching us how to treat you more.
Yes.
We're all doing that, but you are really teaching us how to treat you.
And one of the things I've had to say to people is, give me the benefit of the doubt that perhaps you're mistaken in your assessment of me, and maybe watch my behavior and my
Right.
actions and get to know me through my consistency of my presentation.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not going to get to know you by 20 questions.
Right.
That's not a fives get to know you.
Right.
It's through the pattern of predictable behavior. That's
Yeah.
how I know you.
Thank you.
Yay, right on. Another 5, but a 3-5 this time.
I have a friend that likes to operate out of and speaks frequently. Your opinion is none of my business.
None. What you think of me is none of my business.
I'm curious to know whether that answered your question
I'm
about
curious too.
confidentiality, because it seems to me like this isn't a forum in which we put anybody down, whether we know them or not, whether somebody can identify them or not. It doesn't seem to be part of the scene here. So I don't even see where it would come up, but I did hear that there was a concern on your part of maybe talking about somebody that would later be able to identify themselves as having been talked about,
Correct.
and that was a concern for you.
Correct.
Did this whole discussion answer that for you?
Yes, in a very roundabout way,
All right, thank you.
because it was really Faith that I think helped explain it for me, in terms of it's not my responsibility really what someone thinks of me, and if I have to own their projection for a while until it works its way out, then that's kind of what I signed up for. However, as the emotional trigger, as you can imagine, I just had this experience 2 days ago where I was sharing very directly to the person in the space, but I shared something that happened in another space in conjunction with what was going on in that space, and I got crucified. Crucified. And I didn't get it. And then later I thought, if I'm really honest, I was triggered, and I wanted, and I was owning that I was triggered, but even in there was a little bit of, you bit me, and I'm going to call it out a little bit, which again, so I'm a little complicit, if I'm honest. On the other
Yeah.
hand, the truth was out there really for everyone for them to make the judgment.
Yeah.
Was I owning my response? Was I bringing a further explanation because of the inquiry we were doing at that point that gave me another aha to why I was actually even triggered, which had nothing to do with that they triggered me. It was all my own explanation, really, of what
Right.
was going on. And yet, I find often as a 2-5, you do one, I feel like a kid. I only did one really little bad thing, and I got really yelled
Yeah.
at. So that part of me doesn't really want to stumble into that anymore.
Right. Have you heard people talk about a 5 being practical?
Totally.
One of the little thingies that I use when I am talking to 5s or thinking about my own self, because my nodes are in line 5. And so there is a lot of experience that I have with that in my environment and from my environment. Definitely not like you guys, but I do have a little bit of that. Like, wait a second, I only did one little thing. Maybe that's some of the manifester. My point is, when I am pointing at you, there are 3 fingers pointing back at me. And so this is the way that I use it. If I can stand in the heat of the fire, of the blah, 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 the big reaction that I feel like I shouldn't have had that big of a reaction because I was being honest. Maybe I was skirting the edges of compassionate honesty, but I was being honest, right? Let me grab my point back. The way that I know how to guide or lead or the next thing to say, because the thing that you're offering is at step 10. When they point at you and you see those 3 fingers pointing back, you see what step they're at. And then you practically walk them to step 10. Not thinking that everybody saw that, because not everybody saw that. And so you got to say, you hear, you're telling me that I'm overreacting. And I say, how dare you say that? That's always what I was told in my childhood. I'm passionate. So I've just given you my inner child wounding and my desire to be all that I am. And so you meet me there and you walk me, if it's appropriate, to 10. You walk me there based on everything. You keep letting me point at you over and over. And that tells you, and that tells you, and that tells you. And you have the aura and bandwidth to withstand that. Right on.
Yeah, I think that that's the key, is being able to see it from that perspective rather than be in it and be,
Because we want to
subjected to it.
belong, and we feel like that means not belonging when someone says this. We feel like we're out of the tribe.
yes, which puts us outside the village,
Yeah.
right? And but that's a very real
Not when you're
location.
not when you're shoved out, but when you have the opportunity to go
Yes.
out.
Well, it's actually a place that allows us to coexist with people.
Yeah.
Because if we step in and ourselves too intimately, we get a lot of reverberation. I
Would you
think.
mind sharing your design with the YouTube audience?
What is the YouTube?
My design being in what way?
I am a 6'2" splenic manifester.
And I am a 5'1" splenic projector.
Are we on over there? Oh yeah, we are. Here we are.
YouTube channel.
I think I put it in the Void
Oh, you
group.
did. I think I put it in the Void group.
There you are. We're up there.
All right. Okay. So you are a 5'1"
Splenic projector.
splenic projector. What is your incarnation cross?
The left angle cross of the Clarion.
Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah. I like that cross very
Yeah,
much. It
yeah,
works
yeah.
well for me.
It
so,
does,
yeah.
I'm sure. Cross of the Clarion 5'1". Okay.
Thank you.
And just so you know, we are in the room with a 5'1" and a 3'5" manifester and a 2'5"
Manny Jen.
Manny Gen and a 6'2" projector and a 5'1" Manny Gen or Jen? What is your type, Leanna?
Let's see.
And Sir Ray of Light has joined us, a 2'4" projector. Leanna, oh, beautiful, is a 5'1" manifesting generator.
I was checking to see because you said 3740. I don't have anything in that line.
It doesn't mean, again, that you don't have experience with that line. It just means it's not consistently part of who you be in life.
It's not lit up.
Mm-hmm. We're having a fun time looking at ourselves in all of these mirrors here. So here's something that I want to share with you. I want to give a 6-line invitation to my community of allies, remembering that I only know what I know. I only know what it's like to be on the inside of this thing. I don't know what it's like to be on the outside of this thing. What I want you to know in response, like closing up this conversation and then moving over, is that please be direct with me. Is that I want and know that moving forward as 5th lines, when you say what is going on in the field, you are course correcting me. And if I have a problem with it, it's my problem. And so for me, and again, I might say this every single gathering, something that has been the crux of my, or as my grandmother would have said, something that bites my ass, is that I have never really felt truly loved by anybody because no one's brave enough, in my opinion. This is the story I tell. Nobody's brave enough to love me like that. That's real fucking love. When you can take me aside with compassion and say, hey, look, it's a little much for me. And then I get to decide how I'm in relationship with you. I know that I am sovereign, that I am the master of my temple. I know that when you give me this information, it's information. You're not telling me what to do. You're not telling me I'm bad, wrong, and shameful. You're not telling me any of those things. A benefit of being in a human design community is that I know that your 5th line, and I trust that your 5th line is here to correct my frequency. And I trust you. And when I stop trusting you, and then I'll stop trusting you. But I will remain the same. You know, so to me, love is saying that thing. And I want to be loved like that. Yeah. It feels like I got to watch my back in any other way if you're not honest or direct with me. It feels like I got to watch my back. I don't like being around people I got to watch my back. It doesn't feel safe to me at all. So, there's an invitation, please. I'm ready. Fifth line me. Just warn me, right? Just inform. Look, I got something to say.
Strategy.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, here's my
But she
strategy.
just asked us.
I have to initiate informing. There's me initiating, informing. I'm initiating. Please inform me that there's something you got to say.
Uh-huh.
Ask my consent. Do you have space for this? So super important, right? The only time we get dysregulated is when we get something said or the frequency changes us that we didn't have capacity for. So just ask me if I have bandwidth to hear something fifth line. And I'll say yes or I'll say no, but I'll be responsible for it. Okay, thanks. That is the new 3740. So that's what we're going to talk about more today, is this nodal shift that we just did into 3740. I didn't get the dates proper in my mind, and that doesn't really matter because we're going to experience it and it's going to go on and does not need our validation of its dates in order to exist. The change of the nodes. So these nodal configuration, what is that? That is the environment in which your mythology plays out on. It is what we are going to see, the overall theme of all of the planets talking to each other. The nodes of the moon are a place in space, not an actual cosmic body. It is a place in space where the ellipticals intersect, which is said to be a portal of some sort. And in this portal, there are mystery teachings that speak of reincarnation coming from the past into the future, that these environments that we see in our nodes, in our design, are the environments that we have unfinished business in. We are here to move in that environment with our sun, moon, earth, and all the rest of our planets. And so it's happening all the time. Right now, we are in 3740. Raphael came in this afternoon and started talking immediately about his desire to be able to move fluidly with his resources in places and spaces that we're moving to in the future. This isn't something we have to think about, this 3740. It's just alive in us, and we can start hearing each other talk about it. I wanted to talk a little bit about 3740 and its polarity. I actually kind of wanted to play a video, a 14-minute video. Would you guys be okay with that? And this is, I'm sorry for people on YouTube if it's hard for you to hear this, but this is Lubina Archer, and she is a teacher with, well, let me make sure I get it right, because she has been with two different bodies of education. Okay, IHDS, okay. So she is now with the International School of Human Design. And she is going to talk about, she's the best I've seen at marrying the mystical way with what Ra's teachings were and making them very practical. She's a 3-5. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we're going to listen to her talk about 3740. Maybe.
Is not by its nature mystical. He says, please get that. It requires some kind of event. And that event doesn't have to be mystical. It can be a tragedy. It can be all kinds of things. Something that happens in the life.
I want to have a brief visit of what she just talked about. She just talked about the 3740 being the breaking the bonds because we've stopped breaking bread once with one another. Um, we've stopped breaking bread, and so bonds break. If we think about that in terms of what we're seeing in the world around us, she just said we stop relating to each other by that way of mouth, by way of money, and start relating to each other in a different way. You want to, and so the reason that I'm sharing that is because something happens, right? There's something's happening in the world around us. Lots of somethings are happening that are inviting people to turn their back on money and turn their face towards authenticity, towards connection with what is true rather than money. That is the mystical way. So when we talk about tribes breaking down, that's not necessarily what's happening. It's that we are turning to the tribes that are proper for us. Did you have something alive in you? Okay. Okay.
But she was saying turning towards money because of the channel that would go on the other side from the ego to the throat.
No, she's saying turning towards individuality, the 5125.
She pointed towards, it seemed like she was pointing towards the money channel
The
and
20,
saying instead of turning
instead
to
of that.
that, we're
That's what
now
she said.
looking towards the individual,
Right, which is the 2551.
which is, and so the
No.
breaking of the bond was the old way.
Of the money way,
breaking of the
right? Because that's
bread,
why we've got
and part of that was to look to the money channel
That's
as the
right.
next step.
Right.
But she's saying instead of that, we're flipping that now because the 2027 is on the horizon and we're now moving towards a different direction.
That's exactly what she's saying. And that different direction is the initiation into the higher self through 5125. Mm-hmm. And so she's going to go into a little bit about this a little bit deeper into the bond, the marriage bond, right? The 3740, the husband 40 being the stomach and 37 being the mouth, right? The husband in 40 goes to work and gets the resources and brings them home to the 37, and the 37 gives love and aloneness to the 40. That's been the nuclear family, if we think about it, pre this age. And so she's going to go into that bargain a little bit and how it's going to change from the bargain of being in relationship with one another by way of you bring home the bacon and I'll make sure the laundry's done. That bargain is now moving into this spiritual partnership, this togetherness through individuation, this togetherness through the 51, through the shock of actually loving myself, 25. That's what relationship is moving towards. So this is the field around us that we are seeing. We are seeing right now this bargain being broken down in every sense of that word, in every community we have, with our money, with our human rights, with our dignity, with our laws, everything, all of our bargains are up in the air now. So that's something that happened, turned us away from money, right? Because all of these bargains, 2145, came in place to make money, to establish us as a tribe, as viable. And now we are that, and we've got to move from doing things for money to doing things for authentic expression together. So that's what we see happening right now. We see the breaking down of the bargain and the people turning their faces toward what? It will all be perfectly fine, but and we don't yet have the tools to be able to turn our faces from, oh shit, I got to make money, to, oh shoot, money comes when I love myself. So that's the different mindset that we're seeing in the world around us, and why a lot of people are, dignity has been destroyed in a lot of ways lately. So a lot of people are angry because of that, but also there's a lot of underlining anger, right, that we feel because we thought we were in a bargain with something. We thought that if we did this, we'd get that. And that's not what's happening right now. So there is also an undercurrent in our collective of that kind of angry aggression, because this 3740 needs to go away so that we don't sell ourselves down the river for $1 anymore. Okay, so she's going to keep talking about that. Is there anything alive?